Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again. It's Rod from Civil Advantage Firearms Training. So today we're talking about the XDM from Springfield Armory. So again, a shout out goes to Scott and everybody over at International Shooting Supplies for giving me the range and carry kit and some ammunition to mess around with this pistol. Really appreciate it. Great place to shop for guns. They got an awesome selection, lots of black guns. As you guys know, I'm a big black gun guy. So, and they're really friendly, and they got a lot of information, a lot of expertise in the store. So you definitely check them out. That's one of the reasons why I'm associating with them, because they're a great group of people. So nonetheless, there's the plug for them, well deserved. But Scott over at International gave me this pistol to mess around with for a while. He gave me the range and carry kit. Let me just go over real quick what's in there. The range and carry kit, I think they're selling it for $8.99, which is not a really high price for something I would consider to be a premium pistol like this. But certainly a little more than the Glock, but still pretty good value. So anyway, you get the pistol, you get the you get 2 magazines, you get 3 different palm swells, you get a holster, magazine holder, and a loader if you need it. You get a cleaning kit and an outlock, and a cool case. I'm going to talk about the case at the very end. It's kind of interesting. So anyway, wait till you see that part. So I pull this pistol out and I look at it and I'm like, that's a really nice pistol. And I'm not really used to really pretty firearms. Sorry to all the XDM guys or XD guys. It is a pretty gun. I'm really impressed with how nice it looks. Because I'm a Glock guy, as you guys know, if you've seen my videos. And Glock, of course, is the epitome of utilitarian. Everything's square. There's like square. Does it need to be contoured? No. Good. We're not doing that. Does it need to fire? Yes. That's what we're going to focus on. So, you know, Glock is kind of like that, and I like them for it. But I'll readily admit the Glock is not a pretty pistol. It just works, right? So, nonetheless, so when I pulled this thing out, I was really impressed because, as I said, I don't really have a lot of pretty firearms. So some of the stuff that I like about this gun right off the bat is the textured grip is really deep. Meaning that when you got this thing in your hand, it fits in your hand beautifully. It's just beautifully contoured. There's so many different levels of contouring here they really thought this through. And the texturing is deep, so I don't feel like I'm ever going to drop this gun, or it's ever going to get pulled out of my hands, or I don't feel insecure about how much control I have. It's a really positive grip, so that I'm really impressed with. And again, being a Glock guy, it's not a video on bashing Glock. That's all I buy for my, you know, whatever, my primary pistol. But the Glocks just, they don't feel that great, the grip, in my opinion. Everything else I love about them. This certainly feels really nice in the hand. So kudos to them, to Springfield Armory for doing such a great job on the grip. So it comes with these 3 palm swells, so you can interchange them. If you have bigger hands, obviously that can be an issue with some pistols. You have an option. If you have smaller hands, huge issue with some pistols. You have an option there. I didn't try the other palm swells, so I don't know how much of a difference they make, but I would imagine it would be significant looking at the shape of the grip. Also, the serrations are very deep on the slide. You can pull it from back here. You can pull it from up front. Ambidextrous magazine release on both sides right out of the box. You don't have to change anything. So that's kind of cool for lefties. When it comes to the slide release, you're still stuck with what you got. The magazines themselves are pretty cool. They're stainless. I will tell you, by the way, that they are magnetic. Some people were concerned about XD magazines being non-magnetic. So if you have magnetic magazine holders, they will work. We tested that at the range the other day. As well, magazine capacity. So the XDM has a little advantage over the XD, which is they have a 19 round magazine. So in Canada, that doesn't really help us, but should they ever change the law later, these are pinned, which is great, so you can have these magazines restored. Why shouldn't I shoot 19? I don't know. I guess 10 is just safer. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous, but nonetheless, kind of a neat addition to the options that you have in a handgun. 19 rounds in a regular frame pistol. Now, even when you put the magazine in, the grip and the magazine aren't just hanging out the bottom that far either. So, pretty cool. 19 rounds, one in the chamber. That'd be 20 rounds in a more civilized country. That's a great feature there. Other features we'll talk about real quick is you have a striker indicator right here in the back. So if you have your proper grip and you look down the sights, you can easily look and see that the striker is in a position to be fired. You also have a chamber round in the chamber indicator here, chamber loaded indicator up top. You don't really have to change your grip or angle to really see that and see that you have a round chambered, although I've never had a problem knowing whether or not I had a round chambered, but it's a new feature that people are building into guns, so whatever. The frame's polymer, and there's no hammer. It's striker fired, which I like striker fired firearms. The gun shoots really smooth. One of the features, again, an upgrade on the XDM from the XD, is a match grade barrel, which is nice, and apparently the trigger's a little bit better. Now, I don't know if people, I've never shot the XD, but I don't know if people had a problem with the trigger, but this trigger is super, super nice. The trigger reset is really good too. And when, people pull the trigger and they say, oh, it breaks nice, and there's not a lot of, it's not stagey, it doesn't stop and start, and that's all important for a trigger. But where the trigger reset is located is also important, and I'm going to take a second to talk to you guys about this. And this is just my opinion, right? But when you have a trigger reset, put that down there, basically you fire the gun, the slide cycles, and now the trigger's sitting there waiting to be reset. When you put your finger forward, you'll hear the click, and that's the point at which in the travel you can pull the trigger again. So what's really important about that is that the trigger reset isn't too far forward, because it might as well be like a double action only, where you're yanking this whole trigger all the way back and forth every time you want to discharge the pistol. So that's no good. But if the trigger reset is too close to the back of the travel, like from the trigger depressed position, you can have unintentional double taps. So basically the pistol recoils, it comes back down, the trigger creeps forward slightly, bang, 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 bang. You kind of lose a little bit of control of the firearm. So the trigger reset is in a perfect position, in my opinion. Again, it's not something a lot of people talk about, but I think it is important. I have a SIG copy. I have a few of those SIG copies, right, of the SIG P226, the ones made by Norinco, and the trigger reset on some of them is really, really close to the back, and I've done unintentional double taps on those pistols as a result of that. So not the end of the world. We're on a range, but still you have a shot that you didn't mean to take, and that's an issue. Also, okay, what else are we going to talk about? You have a Picatinny rail on the bottom for light or whatever, laser, whatever you're into. That's cool, and it has 3 positions, so you can move that back and forth. That's all nice. The pistol's weight is what you'd expect from a polymer pistol, nice and light. I will also mention that all of it's just, I guess I mentioned it right off the bat, but I just can't get over it, how nice this pistol is, how every little detail on this pistol has been thought through. Even the slide release is not just a square piece of metal, it's contoured and texturized and everything. It's really cool. Something I want to talk about real quick are the safeties on this pistol. So as you guys know, I'm really concerned with safety all the time, because I'm a Canadian Firearm Safety Course instructor. But just as a shooter, as a firearm owner in Canada, I'm really preoccupied with safety. But on a pistol, you don't need a lot of safeties, especially on a striker-fired pistol. So for me, Glock is perfect because there are no safeties other than one internal safety, which is the trigger safety, this little leaf in the trigger here. So the Springfield Armory XDM uses a trigger safety, so that's great. I like that. And the reason why I like that safety is if I can just keep my finger off the trigger, this gun is never going to go off. It's not going to get caught on anything. It's not going to go off. So that's great. But they put an additional safety, and this one is another internal or built-in safety, which is a grip safety. And that's fine. I'm glad that there's a safety there. But here's the problem with this grip safety. So it's a bit of a negative on the pistol, is that this grip safety is very small. It hits right in between your thumb and your index finger, and it has to be completely depressed. I mean, dead in there to turn itself off. That's not overly that bad, but if I relax my grip a little bit, that safety turns itself on. Or if maybe, whatever, I don't know. If I have my finger on the trigger and I'm pulling it, I'm actually intending to discharge the firearm. So I really don't need that grip safety. And here's the worst part, is that I'm used to cycling firearms all the time because I always want to check them to make sure they're safe. And if I don't depress this grip safety, I can't cycle the slide. So it just makes me a little bit more clumsy with the firearm, right? And you can see in the video, I'm struggling with it a little bit, like, oh, there we go, to kind of open it, right? So it takes a little bit of getting used to. Is that a buy, don't buy factor? Absolutely not. One more thing I'm going to say about the pistol is when you disassemble this thing, it's very commonly, very common to polymer pistols how it's disassembled. But when you actually look at the barrel here, there's some material that's put on the loading ramp, and it's a really interesting material. I mean, I shot some pretty ugly ammo in here. I mean, ugly to some people's It was barn all. So I buy that stuff because it's inexpensive and it works every time. So I have no problem with it. But some people will be like, well, it's steel case, so it's bad. I don't think steel cased ammunition is bad at all, personally. Again, just my opinion. But it can be a little bit dirty, that stuff. And you know what? I pulled this barrel out and I wiped it with a cloth like this, and this loading ramp has some kind of coating on it, and it's gleaming chrome, like with one wipe. So I don't know what they put on there, but it's great and really easy to keep clean in there. So kind of interesting. Easy to disassemble, all that stuff's great. So all in all, as I may have mentioned, I shot just over 400 rounds. I'm not sure I mentioned that or not, but about 400 rounds. And I did shoot 200 rounds just kind of running around and trying to evaluate the pistol. I didn't think that made me confident enough to do a review. So I shot another couple hundred rounds by using it through training for 2 days. And it's really nice. I mean, if I was in the market to change the platform that I was using, I might even consider this even over the Smith & Wesson M&P 9, by the way. If I was to choose it over the M&P 9, it would be because of the trigger. Because the M&P 9 trigger, I'm not impressed with that trigger. And the trigger is a huge part of the pistol. So, you know, definitely the Springfield Armory XDM wins over that. All right. So if you have, and of course I don't know everything about the pistol, if you guys have experience with this pistol, please help out your fellow shooters and tell us your experience, good or bad, I don't care. But please comment. And if I'm missing something, let me know too, because I don't know everything there is to know about this pistol either. But now for the best part. If what I've told you isn't enough to make you buy this pistol, let's look at the case. This is serious business. So you got this case. What I like about it is it's big enough to hold all this stuff, and look, it's got 2 locations for locks, and it's quite sturdy. So that is good for us in Canada. You can actually use this to transport your firearm. But that's all great, but get this. Look what they got. Not only is it cool looking, but bam, tactical rail on the case. Okay, you got a Picatinny on the case. Bam, another one on the other side. What could be better than that? You could take yourself a tactical light, because, you know, I keep this next to the bed in case there's an emergency, like the case is what I'm saying. Empty, but just the case, because I got a rail, and that's pretty tactical. I could put a light on there. Bam, just like that. Now, if that isn't a deal maker right there, I don't know what is. But one problem, again, I'm going to have to give the case a bad review, because if you open the case and you still got your tactical light on there, your undergun light, bam, you can't open the case. Okay, so a little design flaw there. I was really excited about that rail. Now, not so much so. Anyways, that's the deal. Kind of a cool case. I had to mention something. I can't see something like that and not say anything.